Hi, my name is Jean and welcome to my channel on how to launch your first online training business. In this video, I'm going to go over an exciting change to Zapier. You may have seen up here some of my tutorials on Zapier automations, but now Zapier has taken it to the next level with AI. So if you are not familiar, I'm going to show you a quick demo and explain some pros and cons of AI being integrated with Zapier. So now that Copilot and Zapier are integrated together, that can definitely help you with setting up your automations. However, I will caution that AI is still growing and being tested and being refined, as with all tools, and there are limitations to AI. Don't just assume now that AI is built. Don't just assume that because most people assume that because Copilot is integrated with Zapier, that all your automation questions are solved. I will tell you firsthand experience that it is always best to have a person check your automations because there are still some inaccuracies with Copilot when integrated with Zapier. One of the advantages of Copilot being integrated with Zapier is that Copilot is trained on all the different programs that are integrated with Zapier. So what that means is you can ask the AI the automation questions, ask AI to help you build those automations, and they will build those automations for you. However, it is not always the most accurate or most efficient because there are steps missing, and it's definitely not foolproof. It does save some time. I'll give you an example with a recent project that I worked on where we were customizing some B2B automations, very specific and bespoke customization. And while Copilot gave some really good suggestions, with the help of a developer checking Copilot, they were able to streamline and make the process more efficient. So Copilot may give you tips and they may show you what the path might be, but there are always better ways when you consult a human. So I'll show you a demo of what it looks like, and remember that AI is not foolproof and that Copilot does help with writing code. If you have a developer who is writing some code with webhooks so that some of the automations can be more efficient, Copilot can write code. It can help you develop code, but you always want to check it yourself. Now let's continue in Zapier to brainstorm more simple automations for a Thinkific B2C business. This can be a great and powerful tool because the machine can give you ideas, it can brainstorm with you, it can serve as your automation assistant while you grow your business, and it saves you time and is very effective. Inside Zapier, you will see that if you're just looking for some ideas, they'll give you some suggestions. And for me, I want to go with this idea of more automations inside my Thinkific school business. And so I'm going to say, I want to automate emails from my Thinkific school with Google Suite. So they will tell you that there is an integration that you can use with Zapier and Google Sheets. And so they give you some existing templates, and these are all populated from existing Zaps that they've seen people do. The machine will comb through and see what has been done most often and give you some suggestions. And based on this, none of this is really what I'm looking for. I'm at the early stages of brainstorming, and I'll hit send to get some ideas of what are some possible automations for my emails that I can send from my Thinkific school using Google Suite, because I'm just at the early stages and I'm not ready to get an email marketing software yet. And the machine is brainstorming and thinking of different ideas, which is really awesome because I only know a little bit, but the machine may give me more ideas than I had initially anticipated. So I can continue to leverage Zapier and Copilot further in the process. They've given me some single Zaps, and so they talk about new student enrollment. I've already done the course completion, new user registration, and specific course milestone reached. And so for me, this is great. For me, these are some great ideas, but I know specifically I want to automate emails from my Thinkific school when a student completes a lesson. So maybe the milestone is when a student completes a lesson in my course. I want to send them a congratulatory email to say, congrats, you did one lesson, keep going, and let me continue to encourage you. And when a student completes a lesson in a course, and this will course. I want to automate emails from my Thinkific school when a student completes a lesson in a course. So now let's see what Copilot suggests. And then I will show you the second half of this process, which I've already done. So they will tell you in order to set up this automation, they will need to check that there is a trigger for enrollment process, and there is one for lesson completed. And then they can directly send it from my G Suite to say, send an email. And so the process goes every time a student completes a lesson, they will get an email from my G Suite. And so every time a lesson is completed, I want them to send an email from my G Suite. So that it starts with the lesson completed, and then they will then send an email. And so when they send an email, I'm going to have to think through this to customize the subject and the content. I may want to format the content so that it's HTML friendly versus just plain text. So now that is the first step. Now let's take a look at the second half. So now I'm going to start to build this inside. So now I'm going to take this further and automate set up the actual. So now I'm going to take this further and actually build this with Copilot. So they've set it up for me in terms of the first step, which is the trigger, which is lesson completed. Then the second step would then be to send an email. So let's look at our setup again, because this is really key. So first of all, the setup, I have to connect the G Suite email. So I've already done that. And the action, the first step is actually starting with the Thinkific school, pulling the data specifically for the lesson completed. And so they're going to ask me which course, and I selected this All About Instructional Design one. And then I've selected the lesson, which is the first video in the course, which is Welcome to My Onboarding course. And then once that looks good, and I can also choose from multiple courses. I'm just doing one course as an example. And then I can also choose from multiple lessons. So now let's continue to configure this for more. So as you can see, they found a few enrollments that have met this criteria of lesson completed. And so now let's continue with this record. And the next step will be to send the email from my G Suite. So this is the email that I'm sending it from. Now, if you don't want to send it from this email, you can send it from another email as well. So now let's continue. And I want to enter the text, so I want to pull the data so that every time it's sending it to the email. So that's the first step, is mapping it so that it goes to the user's email address. And then if I have a specific group in Google Suite in my if I have a specific group contact list for this, then I can select true so that this message goes to everyone in that contact. But because it's not, I'm going to click false. And then let's just say the person who is sending out wants to send out a test email. They can send it to my other test email, g.pack@gmail.com. And then I can choose the from email, so it will be from myself. And then make sure I put my name. I can just use my first name and my last name. So rather than having, this is the key part, is using the field mapping instead of just typing it yourself. You want to just have it auto-populate. And then you can set up a reply to, and then just say in congrats. And then this is what I mentioned earlier. You can set up as plain text email, or you can do HTML. If you're going to do HTML, make sure you preview it. I'm just going to do plain text for this demo. And just say, congrats, you've completed the first lesson. Keep it up, and I look forward to seeing you complete the course. And then by signature default, I can add my signature. If I want this specifically to go into their inbox, I can check inbox or important. This just helps them prioritize where it goes to. And if I have any attachments, like maybe I want to add a funny GIF, I can add an attachment here. But I'm just going to keep it simple. So click on continue. And then we'll test this out. And so it's just reminding me what I've selected and then what the email looks like. And then let's test this. So now you see it was sent, a message was sent to Gmail, and then I'll show you what the final result looks like so that you can see this test. And so once this is great, I can publish it, but because I don't want to publish it, I'm testing, then I'm just going to leave it here. I hope this video helps you see the benefits of using Copilot as your automation assistant in your Thinkific business. If you have more questions, comments, or feedback, send me an email or reply